Well, this is the first step in the process of canning the garden huckleberry pie filling. We had a few interruptions, what with the water missing, but what I did was, Stephanie, as you saw, was picking the stems off the blueberries. We cleaned them all up, put a lid on the pot, and put it in the coldest spot in the house. So that was a day and a half ago. I took them out this morning, and I had to continue with the cleaning because some of them just, deteriorated or got old a little early. So I went through all that, and I brought them to a boil. Oops. And then I drained them. I covered them with water, brought the berries to a boil, and I think they boiled for 10 to 15 minutes, so they're really soft, and they were. So then I drained them and saved the liquid in a pot, and it said, keep the berries warm while you get the canning jars ready. So that's what I've done. These have all been already washed with hot soapy water and then the lids put on and put away, and they stayed covered for the winter. So I brought them out now, and the lids are in the bottom, not the rings. And so I have them all lined up. The water is getting hot, and I'm going to lower them in and then get more water, pour them over the top. And these can stay in there. They can simmer for 10 minutes. Actually, because of the high acidity of the berries, they don't have to be sterilized in the strictest sense. So these are going to be very hot, and they'll be ready to receive the pie filling, which I'm going to make a little later. So this step is lowering the jars into the water bath, empty, and I am going to take, I knew that would happen with the pint jar, a little stinker. So I'm just filling enough water so that the jars will sink to the bottom and not tip over. And I'll do that to all of them, and then just put the lid on, and they'll just stay hot. They won't be boiling necessarily. They'll just be hot enough to receive the pie filling, and you'll see how that is done. Okay. Very good. Well, the clean jars are getting hot over here, and I'm about to make the filling. So the first thing, I did strain you'll see them later, the berries, and so much juice came out. I wanted to mention, this is just garden huckleberry juice. And this is what I got, plus 4 cups, which I need for the filling. But I also wrote dye, D-Y-E, because Stephanie will be dyeing some linen and maybe some wool, and she will use this dye. So, here we go. And it says 3 1/3 cups of sugar, but I didn't cut back by very much. And I used pure cane sugar, which I think it is cane juice that is evaporated and it becomes sugar. I keep that usually in a half-gallon jar, but I have measured out the 3 cups, right. I didn't put as much as they said. So I'm putting in that. Whoo, that seems like a lot. But you have to remember, 6, 7 pies. And here I have clear gel, and it requires 1 1/3 cups. And this is the thickening agent. And in earlier times, people, I guess, used cornstarch, and found some people even used gelatin. Another thickening agent, or that stuff that's called gum tragacanth. That can also be used, but I'm using this because I did try it before, and it was recommended in the extension canning guide from the FDA, and in a recipe for for blueberry filling, but I'm just applying the same to the huckleberries filling. The only thing I do know is the difference, one of the differences, that the garden huckleberries are larger than blueberries. But, so I don't know what happens. It hasn't caused me any problems when I'm measuring cups. You know, I'm a little generous with it, just in case. But, so, here I have the clear gel and the sugar, and I'm going to add the 4 cups of garden huckleberry juice. So in it goes. What a beautiful color this is. It looks like wine. There. So I'm going to mix this together before I bring it to the stove to heat up and thicken. I should probably set a stopwatch so I can make a note of about how long this takes. I'd like to have information like that in a recipe, but of course they'd say, well, you have a wood stove, how do I know how hot, you know, the top you have there to cook on? And I guess there's a point. So I think I'm just going to stir it, and then when it comes to a boil, I'll have to do that exchange, because I have to bring it to a less hot part of the range. Wow, it looks thick already. This is the hot side of the stove. I just want to make sure it's really well mixed. No little glimpses of powdery anything in here. And it looks good. It looks thick already. But it said you bring to a boil, and then I'll have to stop and move things around and move this to the cooler side and just simmer it until they say very thick. I hear it bubbling. So this mixture has just started to plop a little bit, and I moved it over. It's so thick already. The plops are not as if it's boiling water, certainly. So I'm going to add the 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I did get this from an organic lemon juice in a bottle. Comes from Italy. But in the past I have also used just a very large lemon, and both halves the juice gave me about 1/4 cup. So now here comes, you guessed it, nutmeg. So I'm sprinkling that 1 teaspoon of nutmeg all over the top, and I'm mixing it together, and this will heat for about a minute, they say, and then I will add here comes the reveal, if you'd like to see. This is a big mound of the huckleberries, garden huckleberries, that I kept warm after their cook down and juice release. I wanted you to stir constantly for a minute, and I guess it's just to make sure that the nutmeg and the lemon juice is really blended well. So this is nicely mixed, and I'm going to start adding the warm garden huckleberries. This is not easy. They didn't talk about this. I'm just going to get going. I'm removing this from the heat because it doesn't have to cook anymore. It just needs to blend and be hot enough that it's a good time to put in the jars. All right, we'll start off with one. We are, the jar is hot, it's clean. Moving it over. And I'll start to fill. I have to remind myself what they're telling me about how much space at the top. Well, I know it's going to be at least an inch. I should have highlighted. Very thick. I've probably gone too high. Yes. Well, maybe no. Actually, that might be just right. I've filled it, leaving half an inch, maybe a hair more. I always get nervous about that. Airspace at the top. And I'm putting the clean, hot lid, and here's the ring. I can start putting these in the tray, which will then be lowered. But I almost forgot a very good tip. I was told, especially if you live in the Northeast, where there's a lot of calcium in the water. And so the water, you can just boil a teapot of water and you'll find this white stuff floating on the top. And it's, I don't know if it's harmful. I should probably look it up. But it's not very appetizing. And also with canning, it makes this kind of ugly, chalky layer all over the outside of the jars. And that doesn't look like nice either. So I'm going to put, need a couple, 2 tablespoons maybe. And that is supposed to be enough to prevent, that'll just mix in. Well, that's interesting. I don't see that white stuff. It looks like it's foaming and sputtering, but it's very nice. And I know it's for the better. So I've hand tightened it, not over tightened. And I'm going to put the first one in. I'm going to do one more. And, okay. Ha! I'm glad I spilled something because now I have an excuse for cleaning around the lid. Move a little closer. There. Doesn't that make more sense? Smells nice. Whittledy. We'll see if I overdid it. Oh, well, I overdid that. There. No, that's good. Except because I was hasty, I was also a little sloppy. So I'm cleaning to get a good seal. You can't have anything on that surface. Now we're ready. A nice clean top. And all right, there goes another. I think I'll take some of that calcium off there. There, we're ready. Number 2. And so I will continue with the rest of the jars, and we'll see you later. Well, I ran into a little problem. I had 2 different recipes for this, and one recipe recommended less than a bit less than a half-inch headspace, and the other one said an inch. So that can drive you crazy. I mean, most people who are, do canning, they're worried because they've had things explode in a canner or the glass crack because of some law of physics and, the amount of airspace that was left above. The other thing, though, that I didn't think of, so I had to take all of these out again and look at them because this filling is very thick, and it's easy when you're putting it in to just have big bubbles of air in there, and that's not a good thing. So I'm going around and putting this long tool in that came with the canning things like this, and the little magnet for retrieving lids when you're cleaning them and heating them up. But anyway, this is a wonderful thing for just going around the edge and, wiggling it a little, getting rid of any air bubbles. So I feel a lot better about that. So that's going back, and I still have my little napkin to make sure that there's a clean edge to the top. See, I did have some. And now I can put this and the ring right back on. Now I can rest a little bit. I'm going to put this last one in. So I ended up with 4 quarts and a pint. Okay, so what I will do now is to lower these slowly down into the hot water, and they are totally submerged. So now I will put the lid on. Remember, this is a water bath. I have a gauge up there, and zone 1 is me. Right here, St. Albans is just about 1,000 feet above sea level. It's pretty low. And so that region is dark green. So I will watch this as it simmers and watch the red needle go around. And when it hits the green, then I set the timer for 30 minutes. So there we go. Good luck, and we hope this all turns out well. You'll see what happens at the other end. Thank you. Well, the 30 minutes are up, and then the 5-minute rest with the lid off. Now I am able to remove, let's see, okay. I'm putting them on a tray, on an old towel. I'm used to doing this from when I was canning tomatoes. Oh, I know what I could do. There. Okay, I'm going to take all these out. You can see them. I'm looking. Looks like everything is okay. I'm glad that I went back and opened them up again and removed the air bubbles that I really didn't realize had formed. So they turned out as they should. So we have some pies coming up. So that's it. 4 quarts and the half pint. And I had a little bit left over. I added it to the half pint of garden huckleberry filling that I used when I did the hand pies. I think that was last week or the week before. So anyway, more hand pies. But these I can do the lattice top pies, which are very pretty, and it's nice when you have company, or you can bring to somebody's house when you visit. So that's it for the filling, and that becomes a part of the total story of the hand pies. I'm glad that you could join, and thank you for watching.